This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we have almost watched every movie in the top 250. We're at number 13 this week, guys. We're watching Forrest Gump, which came out in 1994 and was directed by Robert Zemeckis. This movie won Best Picture in a year that is considered by many to be one of the best years in film history. It beat out Four Weddings and a Funeral, Quiz Show, Pulp Fiction, which is above this on the list at number 8, and The Shawshank Redemption, which is number 1 on the list. Yeah. It also got nominated for 7 more Academy Awards. It's the second highest grossing movie of the year. It came out behind The Lion King, and it back in 2016, it was number 13. Now it's number 11, so it's climbing still up the list. And Tom Hanks is one of 5 people in the history of movies to ever win a Best Acting Award in back-to-back years, and this is the second year. So this is the one that was the harder one to get.
Wait, was
Tom
it
Hanks.
Philadelphia beforehand, right?
Beforehand, yeah. 1994, okay. And then 95 Oscars. He won for this one. So this movie is a movie I think everyone's seen.
Yeah.
It is
at least once, probably.
At least once. So it's been a while since we probably all watched it, so let's do a quick 20-second review to get a little round robin.
All right.
How did it hold up? What did you think this time? What do we got? Let's start with TC.
All right. Forrest Gump. I mean, it's a movie that just warms the heart. You know, it's a lot of endearing moments in there. I hate Jenny. And it's about this character that stumbles through every major moment in American history.
She's damaged,
a little gimmicky, but not too bad.
Okay. Hates Jenny. Loves Forrest. Got it.
That's really the takeaway there. Kind of an asshole, I think.
She could have given Forrest HIV, but maybe she didn't know that.
Young kid that doesn't know better, also abused by her dad. She's not on a good track there.
No, she didn't have a chance, but still, she's still a jerk. And
yeah, she's got a
yeah.
God, what do you got? 20 seconds.
Right.
Let's shit on Jenny after their spoiler, the spoiler-free reviews.
I was dreading watching this one because I thought it was going to be all cheap and schmarmy, but instead I found it really, really charming, and Tom Hanks was just amazingly good. I burst out into tears when he found out he had a son. You could see how he was struggling with asking if he was smart or not. Just amazing. Holy shit. The effects hold up good, and it gets a little long in the end, but still pretty good.
Yep.
I think I'm on the exact same page. I was pretty worried about this because a lot of these movies like this have been a little too sentimental, but this one hits the notes.
Yep.
And not even the situations, but I think Tom Hanks is acting it nearly brought me to tears.
So good.
3 points in the movie, and it was just because of what Tom Hanks' reactions to things.
Don't you think that great. This after you see this movie, do you have my opinion of Tom Hanks was reborn. I liked him again.
Yeah, he's
totally.
I forgot.
I completely forgot just because he's doing generic action hero.
And they make fun of him so much in other stuff. It's so easy to make fun of Forrest, where you kind of forget that what it actually is this amazing character that he creates.
Right. Yeah, and it's just an interesting situation, an interesting set of characters, and their character arcs were in just opposite, sort of, they were in opposite
were there even arcs?
Phase,
would you call these arcs?
But then at the end, they come together, and it was nice.
Would you call these arcs, TC? It kind of seemed more like everyone was just kind of floating into the future sort of thing.
I think so, because they both started out as kids, right? And that was the beginning of their journey, and they were in the same spot. They were in the same place. They both had shit, but she had worse, obviously, with the abuse. But they both started out in the same place as innocent kids, and then they go in different directions, obviously. And
but Tom Hanks' character Forrest is he loves Jenny, and in the movie all he does is love Jenny. Every single scene, he's just thinking about Jenny.
The entire movie,
which is very sad.
Poor bastard is all I kept saying. Yeah,
he was fine with it though.
Not really.
No, I think he was sad. So. When he when he mentioned that you don't think I know what love is, right? And there were some moments though that I almost teared up.
God damn, no.
And even that moment, when they come together, I had a little you know.
Aw.
You
The
know.
scenes that got me is when he like removes the leaf off of Bubba.
Yeah.
His reaction there nearly got me when what John said when he like asks him if the kid is stupid like he is.
You watch
yeah,
him
that
struggle.
was-
He's like shocked. You see that it's the first thing in his mind. He does that so fucking good. Like
Yep.
like he's scared to even ask it. It's
Yep.
like fuck. It's just
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then when he's talking to Jenny at the end,
yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Naomi was bawling
I know.
next to me
I
during
was-
that part.
I was definitely, yeah,
No,
wiping
it's
my
pretty
face.
amazing.
I'll put it that
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like watching this movie, a lot of these older movies, I realized that like when I watched them as a kid, I watched them with my family, and everyone's fucking talking the entire time. Or I watched it on TV, and there's commercials all the fucking
And
time.
you got interrupted.
Movies, like,
Exactly.
and you got interrupted all the time. Watching this one, like I think it's the first time I've ever seen it, just front to back, and it's I think it helps a lot. I mean, that's kind of a stupid thing to say,
You might
but
be onto something there because
Yeah.
I definitely remembered the movie, but I didn't remember some of the like the story, parts with the what's his name, the captain or
Lieutenant
the general, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah,
Lieutenant
Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
He's got
I
magic
didn't-
legs.
I didn't really remember those parts at all. So like that all seemed new to me. So I missed something
Nice.
Wow.
as a kid for sure.
I remember damn near everything, but still, like the emotional
The
beats
emotional
hit
stuff
me a lot
wasn't there.
harder.
I remember being like thinking more. It was the history parts were cool the way because it still holds up really well. But the way that they would insert him into like this famous stuff that was what I was too cool to go for the emotional stuff back then. Probably.
I mean, they did a great
Well, that was
job, though,
because it's
right?
like-
John Lennon. And
That was good.
That was great.
JFK. But I mean, can you imagine getting like, I'm a stupid man, but I know what love is, and then it cuts to like, hey, you should buy some pizza, kids, for like 3 minutes. It's gonna fuck it up.
Oh,
You're
it's
not gonna
great
get back
too right
into
now.
it.
Like even if you do like Amazon Prime or whatever, it's like total like slam into a brick wall commercials because they don't even like on TV they kind of will fade something out or they'll pick a moment. Fuck no, on Amazon Prime you're like right in the middle of something and all of a sudden it's just
You
like
get
right in your
commercials
face.
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, if you don't pay extra.
Oh,
Yeah.
we canceled.
I think you get it even if you do.
We are going to be doing that too, probably. Just
What happens on YouTube, I found these days, is if you watch like a channel, like a news thing, they'll be like, check out this clip from this other show we're about to show you, and the algorithm will pick up that edit spot to show you a commercial that is not what they're referencing, but the person talking is like, check this out, we're about to show you a clip from something we're talking about, and then it's like some
It's like,
random fucking
commercial
commercial,
time.
and you're like, what the hell is going on? Oh, it has a little clock in the bottom. Internet's stupid these days, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, front to back, it was. We let both me and Naomi were like, I thought that was going to suck, and that was actually pretty good. We might watch that again sometime.
I would
soon.
watch it again. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It was funny a lot too. I found myself laughing at a lot of it,
definitely.
which was also surprising.
A lot of the characters, just a lot of great chemistry with the actors. Lieutenant Dan is awesome, and just again, everybody's
And also
walking
sad,
everybody's
like
walking these like fine lines, like even with Lieutenant Dan's character, because he's like sad and miserable, but he's still not. He's not going too far. And it's the same thing with Forrest Gump. Again, I can't help but think of the Tropic Thunder line, but it is. It's like this fine line of that. You just that they're
this
showing
isn't
emotions
full,
and
John.
stuff.
This
Yes.
isn't full.
Yeah, it isn't.
I
And
just liked
yeah.
the idea of if you're ignorant to things, but not in if you're just not paying attention on purpose and you're living the life that you live and you do the things that you want to do, everything else just kind of tends to work out. And especially if you're nice to people, good things happen. And like
Except
that was
for everybody
like a
that he
theme,
loves dies.
except but that's also happens in regular
That's-
life. So
right,
it's real.
that's true.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's so relatable, that it doesn't matter who you are. If you watch this, you're going to have some sort of feeling towards like, inspiration of.
Yeah.
all I
Unless you're
have
like,
to do is
look
stay
at the dumb
positive
guy.
and
That
keep
guy's
going.
dumb. I don't know. Maybe you can.
Not so much
Everyone
that
likes this
people
movie,
think it's
John.
dumb.
It's at number
What?
11. Come on, everyone's giving this a 10 on IMDb.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I don't know. I can see maybe there's some people that are going to do that. I don't want to watch a film about the dumb guy. I'm smarter than him.
I mean, I don't know. I hope they don't do that.
I don't know if that guy exists.
I hope that guy doesn't exist.
No, I have to say it's probably a little bit me back then.
So
Just-
your
I was-
logic
I was
there is
young.
that they only like to watch movies about people smarter than them. So they must be pretty dumb if they watch movies at all.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. No.
Denny's on one today,
You just painted that guy into a corner.
It's the day after the election, and
He's
Denny
really
is
mad at you
on
right
one.
now.
My mind is spinning,
Yeah.
everyone. It's fucking
He's
awful.
full of rage, and poor Forrest Gump is once again getting screwed.
What else you guys got on this one?
I don't know, guys. This one doesn't, I mean, it was great, but I don't have much to say about it other than it's a nice ride. It's a good, entertaining, there's a lot of things that happen. A lot of things change. They span a lot of time.
And everybody's seen it. You just go, yeah, it's Forrest Gump. And maybe you forgot what it was. And so it's worth going and see it again if you have, because then you go like, oh, yeah, it's Forrest Gump.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you can't feel bad. And you just kind of, it's an endearing movie. I really liked it. I'd see it again soon.
Haley Joel Osment as the kid was really good. This is his first thing he ever did.
Oh,
I
I didn't
know.
know
How
that.
funny was that? I mean, he was so little.
He's so tiny.
So
How could he
tiny.
act? Full head of hair, same face as he has now.
It's
Very
kind of crazy.
But yeah, I came into this podcast being like, we're not going to have that much to talk about with the movie because it is kind of, I don't know. I didn't want to use the word empty, but it's kind of like surface level, kind of, for the most part.
There's not some real necessary meaning to it or anything. You're just there to watch it, experience
And
it,
hear
and
a
see
story,
this great
really, 'cause
character.
it's all
yeah.
narrated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird that there's not more. I don't know. What do you got? Trivia behind the scenes? Much?
Got a lot of trivia. Do we
Oh,
want to go
let's
there
just
so
go
soon?
right
What are
into
we, 10 minutes
trivia.
into this
Let's get
episode?
going.
We'll give the listeners a break, and we'll just go right in.
Sorry, listeners. We know how torturous it is to listen, and we're just going to go straight to the part that might even be more torturous, depending on
No.
if you're John or not.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's all right.
Everything
It's just like,
is going to be fine.
Everything's gonna
Yeah,
be
you're saying
okay.
TC?
Just
We're all
Okay.
going to be all right.
That's
Right.
good.
At least for a while.
One thing I did notice, and I don't know if this was something, but Inside Out, the soundtrack to that movie, the song that tries to get you a few times, is pretty damn similar to the song that tries to get you in this movie. I wouldn't be surprised if they ripped it off almost entirely to put it in that one because it works so good in this one.
Huh.
What song that tries to get you?
It's the stringy song, strings.
Oh, is that the same from Inside Out? Is the same?
It's not the exact same, but it the instrument
Oh.
sounds the same. It's mixed the same, and the notes are almost the same. It sounds
Okay.
really similar.
Hmm.
At least I thought so, but
I
I
have
don't
to
know.
listen and
Put
see.
that out there. All right, so there were commentary tracks and special features. The commentary I listened to had Robert Zemeckis, Steve Starsky, and Rick Castor in it. I don't know who those last two guys are, but they're people that worked on the movie, I have to assume. But Zemeckis is legendary, guys. Do you guys like Zemeckis? Let's just talk about Zemeckis for
All
a
right,
second.
sure. What
I don't know
do
if
we
I
got
know
from
who
him? We
Zemeckis
got
is.
We got 3 other movies from Zemeckis on this list. We got this one is the highest one. Then there's Back to the Future is on there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then does he actually have
Castaway.
more than just 2?
I see.
No, he's still making movies. Oh, Castaway. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you said he passed away.
Oh. Back to
yeah,
the
I'm doing
Future
good today.
3?
Back to the Future, all of them. He did Contact, Death Becomes Her.
Oh, Contact was good.
Who Framed
Contact
Roger
was
Rabbit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Flight. I don't know if you guys watched Flight, but if you have flight anxiety, don't watch it because it heightens it. That movie's so
All right.
good.
So we like
Um,
Zemeckis.
I like
He's good.
Zemeckis, and he actually just made a movie that came out a week or 2 ago called Here, and it reunited Robin Wright and Tom Hanks for the first time since Forrest Gump, the movie we're watching right
Aw.
now, which is kind of, I planned it all out. 8 years ago, I was like, all right, we have to make sure that when finally they reunite Robin and Tom during the Zemeckis movie, that
We have to go- we
line
have
up
to go
with
see
Forrest
it.
Gump. It was all planned out.
I
That's what I'm saying.
Wow, he's done a lot of stuff.
I mean, maybe
Yes.
I now have to see this just because we just
Yeah.
watched Forrest Gump, but maybe not.
It's
Okay,
not getting
maybe
great
not.
reviews. And I mean, he had like a 10-year stint and did 3 completely CG movies, which I didn't love. Some people like him, I guess, but it was The Polar Express, Beowulf, and A Christmas Carol. They're all pretty weird.
Yeah, they
right during
were
that
weird.
time where everything was like not good enough to do a movie in CG if you tried to make it look real.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah. But I mean, he did Castaway right before that and Flight right after that. So I mean, he bounced back. He always does a lot of special effects.
Mm-hmm.
And in the commentary track for this movie, I can see why he did that 10-year stint. And it's because he hates shooting so much. He complained about the actual, like, being on set. Shooting is the worst part of filmmaking. Like, he likes the writing. He likes coming up with the ideas and the storyboards. And as soon as he has to set foot on a set or out on a location with the camera and actors and the crew, hates it. Front to back, does not like it.
All right.
Very
you know what?
Unenjoyable to
I
him.
love Zemeckis now.
Yeah. But as soon as he says the best part about a movie is just you and the editor in the editing room,
Right.
that
Seeing
is the
it
best
come
part
together.
of the movie.
I bet.
Yeah. So he loves that. But it just makes sense because, like, those 3 movies in a row, he's like, dude, we can just make movies without stepping foot on a set. Let's just do
Let's
that
just
for a while.
do that. Yeah. Why waste our day?
But this guy is also the guy that in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, all the Pixar people, I don't know if they coined the term. I don't think they did. I think the animators of Who Framed Roger Rabbit did. But it was, we talked about it. It was called Bump the Lamp. Do you remember that term when we watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
No.
It was a what they call, and this is what Pixar does in all their movies, an unnecessarily complicated special effect to flaunt how good you are at the special effect. And what happens, where that came from, is there's a scene in Who Framed Roger Rabbit where they're in a back room behind the bar, and there's a lamp hanging down on the ceiling.
Oh,
and they
I remember
hit the
this
lamp,
now.
and the lamp is swinging around, creating light all over the room, and they have to match the animated character shadows with the real people's and everything else in the room shadows. And the lamp is swinging the entire scene, making it super difficult to animate. People probably won't point out and be like, that's really cool how they did that, but it's really hard, and it adds like a lot of depth and realism to what you're seeing without you even knowing it, that sort of thing. So he's the guy who created that. There's a lot of that in this movie. Like, number one, the ping pong balls are 100% digital in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow.
Don't they look real?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They looked 100% real, and this movie came out in the 90s.
I was going to say, yeah.
He did look too perfect. I'm like, damn, did they teach him how to do that?
Well, he did. So what they did on set for the ping pong stuff is they had a metronome with 2 different beats. It was like ding, bonk, ding, bonk. So it would know, like, the 2 guys would just mime it to time. So they would like speed it up as he got better and better.
Then they just draw the ball going between the two.
And they just drew the ball on the computer.
That is
that's cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. It looks really good still. Like, you can't tell it's fake. It's amazing. And it's funny too, because for the scene where he's like playing against China, I think, for the army, for the movie production, they hired like a world champion ping pong player from China to do that scene, and they got him on set, and he couldn't do the fake ping pong. They tried to tell him how to like time it up with the metronome and like fake hitting it, and he couldn't fucking do it.
This is not how you play. You watch the ball and you hit the ball. You don't just.
So they had to get an actor to do it, or somebody that could, a non ping pong player. To
I'm sorry, you're not good
That's
enough at ping pong.
fun.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Who would have
figured
guessed?
you got a good ping pong player.
You would, exactly.
They had footage in the behind the scenes at Zemeckis behind the camera being like, he's got to go. He's gone.
Oh,
he's
wow.
gone.
Like, he can't do this. Can you
Yeah,
believe
he's
it?
like,
This
Flew
guy
him all the
cannot
way
do
over
this?
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
An international incident.
Movie magic. Just real, kind of. Just very, very much close to real, but then not real. Tom Hanks signed on after reading the script for less than half. He liked it so much that he was like, this is great, I sign on. He wasn't the first choice.
Really?
It was Bill Murray, John Travolta, and Chevy Chase all turned it down.
Wow.
Bill Paxton also.
Damn.
And the author of the book had envisioned John Goodman, because in the book, Gump is 300 pounds.
Oh.
It'd been different.
And he does all that running?
So that was my question when I read that. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't think it's not a realistic
Farley could run
story,
fast.
guys.
That doesn't make
But,
sense.
but still.
Yeah, so there's that. There's also a bunch of people in front of Sally Fields, but she wanted to do it as soon as she got offered it. Pretty much. I got nothing else to say. I'm drawing a mind fart right now. I'm just going to keep talking because that's what I'm,
Good at?
supposed to do. I'm not very good at it.
But that's
as you
what
can tell.
TC's good at as far as editing goes.
Yeah. They filmed all of the narration. So they filmed it like they were shooting a scene because Zemeckis didn't want it to seem like he was reading a story or to seem disconnected from anything. So
That
they
makes
had
sense.
they had like a set and everything, and they filmed them doing it. So that's pulled from film sound. The childhood scenes were done in the art style and cinematography style, like a Norman Rockwell painting. So like the colors you can see and some of the angles and the styles and things like that. It kind of matches those types of paintings.
I liked how the braces just like exploded off his legs.
It was
That's
great.
the kind of stuff. Yeah, this movie has a lot of those moments where you're kind of like, that's dumb and unrealistic, but I love it.
Yeah.
This is great. Like, I don't
Just
know
drove the
how
point
you get
home,
that.
didn't it?
Yeah. And Zemeckis talked about that too. He's like, in movies, you always have to toe the line between realism and something exceptional, like something you wouldn't normally see, but you don't want to like go all the way to the end to be like, you don't want people to lose the realism of the thing, but you want them to be able to see something they won't see in real life, because otherwise what's the point of a movie?
Of the
and
imagination, right.
Right. Yeah. Then he started shitting on movies. He's like, if you have two people talking in a room, that's not a movie a lot of people are going to like. I'm like, I like those movies sometimes. Depends on the people are saying.
Depends. Yeah, that could be a good movie.
But that's not the kind of movies he makes.
He's
all about spectacle.
His are elaborate, to say the least. Which
is, kind of cool that's his shtick. That's got to be hard. A lot of effort, I would assume. Harder than just writing two people. The kid that plays Forrest Gump won the role in an open casting call. They said that he was one of the few kids that didn't even care if he was on camera. He was that comfortable. He was more concerned about when he was going to get his peanut butter and jelly sandwich at break time.
Wow.
So they dangle the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know, they're like, all right, buddy, we're going to shoot for an hour, and then you get your peanut butter and jelly. He's like, that sounds great. I'll do whatever you want.
Now you're going to run. Chase the sandwich, boy. Chase the sandwich.
And this kid came from Mississippi, and his accent in this movie is his real accent. So he's not putting on a voice. That's how that kid talks. And Tom Hanks used that kid, since they filmed a lot of the children's scenes first in the production. Tom Hanks used that kid to influence Forrest Gump's adult accent, obviously because he kind of got to match it, but he didn't really have an idea of what he was going to do until he heard this kid, and then he ran with that. And once he started doing the voice, like a third to a halfway into the movie, like he didn't actually start doing the Forrest Gump voice into halfway through production, because they did the Vietnam War stuff first, they did the kid stuff first. But once he started doing it on set, everybody except for Zemeckis was like, you got to stop doing that. That's too stupid. You can't do that. Wow. That sounds awful. You got to stop. And Zemeckis is like, nope, I like it. We're doing it.
Wow.
So Hanks and Zemeckis were the only two on set that liked the voice while they filmed this movie.
Wow.
Which, watching behind the scenes,
that's pretty cool.
Kind of makes sense, because it is like, it's a weird voice. I don't know if that's it's
also borderline offensive, depending on whether you're taking the movie seriously or not. Or
it could be considered
that
way.
Back then, I don't know if it was. Back then, people didn't give a shit.
Well, it also depends on how it edits together. If the edit came across like he was totally making fun of it, or like you weren't supposed to sympathize with this character.
He's
such a likable character.
Yeah, he's so earnest at it.
I mean, you just root for him.
Yeah. Right. If you didn't have that, if they couldn't edit it to get there, then it may have just been, another I Am Sam.
If it was clear he was trying to go for the Oscar, then not so good.
So how do I kick it up a notch from a guy dying from AIDS?
Right.
I got a simpleton that sees everything the world has to offer. That seems about right. They found a place in South Carolina where they could film the Forrest Gump house, Jenny's house, the Vietnam scenes, the boat scenes, like all this stuff in this very small area, like where they found a road with a tree. Where they built Forrest Gump's house. That house didn't exist. They built it there. Jenny's house was kind of there. They added some set dressings to like make it look larger and more lived in. It was kind of a rundown, kind of very old shack. But yeah, and then the Vietnam stuff was all just down the street, which is pretty crazy. They had the super famous Vietnam supervisor in Hollywood who like used to supervise all the Vietnam movies, which used to come out all the time. And he said that where they found it in South Carolina was the most authentic Vietnam set filmed outside of Vietnam he's ever seen.
Oh, wow.
So there's some authenticity there. The place they filmed is called Soap Alley. I don't know if I wrote that down right, but they kept saying Soap Alley. So it could be something that, sounds like that. The bench they filmed it in is in Savannah, Georgia. The bench wasn't there, but they liked the setting, so they built that bench, and that bench is now in a museum.
Okay. That's an interesting turn of events.
Why not? They don't want people sitting down. They want people to stare at the thing you sit down on. That's right.
So
Truth and spectacle. That's what Zemeckis says. Those are his two goals. Trying to hit truth and spectacle. And the blend is the difficult part. He said this movie was particularly tricky because there were no bad guys and no ticking time bomb. So he really had to work hard to make it flow and to keep people interested, because usually you have one of those two things to keep you like motivated through the story. And this one doesn't have it. It's like time is the enemy, really.
At most, At most, you are somewhat interested to see where those different characters are. What's going to happen to Jenny, what's going to happen to Lieutenant Dan as they kind of go forward. But you're right; it's a good point that there's no problem to solve. He's just moving from one thing.
He's
to the
just
next.
living his life. That's it. Yeah.
Right.
It's really kind of a bit of journalism.
And it only works because Tom Hanks is great to watch throughout the entire thing. I couldn't do this with
he
like
does
anything
such a
else.
good job that it all works together great, and you don't mind the fact that they're just skipping time randomly, and you're going from one event to another event, which obviously is ridiculous in itself.
Because even if you don't like the way the story's told, it's Forrest telling you, and you like Forrest so much that you forgive him, basically, right?
Right. That's very true, Denny. You're right. It's you just start enjoying him talking after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah. What else we got here? So for a lot of the found footage, they first went through a bunch of old footage and found clips that would work with the mouth stuff. So they really wanted to always have footage where they could show the mouth moving, because like showing the back of somebody's head, you couldn't see their face. People wouldn't be like impressed by it, sort of thing. So they needed to get all this footage of like these, presidents and musicians and all these people facing the camera. And then they wrote backwards. They're like, all right, what does JFK look like he's doing here? And then they kind of wrote the scenario in backwards to like what they could make the rest of his face look like. Because all they did was animate the mouth, and the rest of their faces were how they were in the footage. So they kind of had to write backwards to make that work, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not sure, I'm not sure there's ever been any other movie that has done that with old footage, to doctor old footage like that.
It's gotta be, right?
But I'm sure there's something. There's got
some comedy or something where some guy
parody of this,
some similar situation where somebody ends up in all these famous situations. It's got to be a thing.
I don't know, man.
I don't like.
It seems hard. It's probably kind of easy these days, but
right. But yeah, this was again really well done. It was
What else we got? So all the scripted narrative or scripted narration was done before a lot of the shoot. So they knew when the narration was coming in, and they built pauses into the shoots so they could fit the narration in there. So like if people in the scene were talking, they would pause kind of unnaturally to have this narration that they had recorded play and just like fill in the space and then hit the timing perfectly for like going back to the scene.
Right.
So like it wasn't overly long, it wasn't overly short. It was acted with the voiceover in the scene, so it worked as well as it did.
That's awesome.
Which is
that's just
great technique.
It's cool because it just shows how well prepared they are, and that that was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Very good idea. So the narration came from the movie Amadeus. Zemeckis watched Amadeus, and he used to hate narration, but in Amadeus, he thought it was used so well. Where it was kind of like it wasn't the narrator telling you what was happening or what was coming up next. It was the narrator experiencing the story with you. So like after every scene, you'd have the narrator reacting on the scene as opposed to like just telling you what's happening. And
then he went and opened the door or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So we really like that style, and that's where this got influence from.
I've been thought about Amadeus for a while. I like that movie. That was fun.
Yeah. Oh. Is that the weird laugh movie?
Yeah, weird laugh movie.
Yeah, that's how I remember that one. Michael T., who plays Bubba, and Gary Sinise auditioned for the roles. So they, won out over a bunch of people. Sinise was good at improv. Bubba was too. And Tom Hanks was actually pretty good too. They had a couple of improv lines thrown in the movie. But the Michael T., who played Bubba, came up with the lip thing, and Zemeckis liked it and kept it in.
Oh, okay.
The multiple shots where Gary Sinise, Lieutenant Dan, is talking about his extended family and how they died in all the wars, and they had shot after shot of all of his ancestors dying. That was done in a sandbox on a hotel rooftop.
Really?
Yeah. They just redressed up sandboxes with the same camera angle and dressed up Gary in a bunch of different outfits and shot on a hotel roof one night.
Holy shit. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. Dude, some of these people are so good at doing stuff like doing that on a hotel roof.
And like pulling it off and not having anybody know it.
And it was just,
right.
Again, it was a really well done sequence. Like funny, a little disturbing because he's dying, but it was just like bam, bam, bam.
And it develops his character so well. Like that's basically his whole character for a lot of the movie. So the the guy who trains actors, it's called Dale Dye. He was famous back in the 90s. Could still be, who knows. They went through boot camp, and all the actors had to go through it. Some of them loved it, some of them hated it, but they learned how to use guns. They had to sleep outside. They set off explosions near them. They had to trek all day, like that sort of thing. Sounds pretty miserable.
Yeah, I don't know.
The swamp they crawled through was a real swamp, and there were water moccasins in there.
Oh, what?
They had to set off charges in the water and then physically chase off all the snakes before they put the actors in the water.
What?
Yeah. I'm not sure that you get away with that anymore. Setting off explosions in waters to scare snakes away. It sounds doesn't sound good.
And
like, it is South Carolina, though. Maybe you can do it there.
What if it didn't work? I'm surprised. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What if one of the snakes doesn't give a shit about explosions?
Yeah,
what if
He's
it pisses them off? Like, hey, you just blew up my house.
Piss them off.
Yeah.
You don't think blowing up water is going to piss off a water moccasin?
Yeah, that's right.
It's what they hate the most.
Well, there might be something. I'm getting the fuck out of here, but then there's someone like, no, we stand.
I'm hunkering down and ready to bite. Yeah.
That's right.
Fight or flight, snake style.
Ugh.
But Tom Hanks, at least he talked about how he had snake chaps on and like big thick pants during those scenes. A lot of the rain scenes were fake rain, as you could probably imagine. For the horizontal rain thing, they had a hard time coming up with how to do it. And Tom Hanks was like, "Can you just get like a jet engine to do it, like as a joke?" And Zemeckis was like, "Jet engine, can we do that?" So they got a jet engine to blow the water in their faces horizontally.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird. And then also they use the same jet engine to do the storm effects. So they actually shot a lot of the boat stuff in the water, and they used these giant ass fans basically to blow and make the storm effects in the whatever water they were in. Talked a lot of shit about filming in water. Zemeckis says it's the hardest thing you could do as a filmmaker because nothing stays still. You know, at the very basic level, nothing stays still. People get cold, even if it's warm out, which it was, but like being in the water for that period of time, you get cold, your heat, whisks away out of your body. So it just sucked. He talked a lot of shit in the filming portion of this movie.
He hates it. He can't stand it. Yeah.
They had so many very tricky special effects, like the scene where Tom Hanks is swimming towards the dock and the camera, it's a single shot, and then he's up the ladder and talking to Lieutenant Dan really quickly. I just barely noticed how fast he did it, and like when I watched it. But they had two guys doing it. They had a stunt guy swimming, and then Tom Hanks was hanging at the bottom of the ladder out of view.
Oh,
and as soon as the stunt guy got out of camera frame, he started climbing up the ladder. Nice. Those two people.
Wow.
I mean, they did a lot of that stuff where like he was running and he ran off camera, and the camera would turn around, and he was like all the fucking way over there, sort of thing. Did you guys laugh pretty hard when he jumped over the fence?
Oh, into the...
I laughed at that. Because his jump, it looked like he jumped off a trampoline or something like that.
He jumped far. Yeah.
Like a cartoon.
It did. It was pretty good. Last Zemeckis.
What?
Zemeckis. Oh, he filmed this one. It was the last movie he did on film. Everything else was digital. I got good handwriting. One of the special effects they did and showed a lot of the behind the scenes of is the shot where he's carrying Bubba and he's running towards the camera and there's explosions behind him when he's in Vietnam. To do that shot, they had two different shots they superimposed on each other. One of which there was the same area, so like all the grass and stuff is the same in both shots. But in one of them, it's Tom Hanks really carrying the actor Bubba. But Bubba's heavy, and Tom Hanks can't run that fast with that actor. So they put the actor who plays Bubba up on wires and had a crane follow them both while like
nice.
he was carrying him, and it was like assisting him with the weight. But it was really hard to get because the first time they did it, they had him up too high and it looked like he was floating. The second time, Tom Hanks couldn't run. So like they really had to like perfect where this crane was going to hold him to get the shot to make it look real. And then after they got that shot, they really blew it up because this place they were filming was going to become a golf course, and they had the rights to destroy all the trees, which they were going to do anyway. So they just bombed the shit out of it. And those explosions behind him were real in that same location, just done at a different time.
Wow.
Pretty good special effects. Yeah, he says shooting is surviving. That's what he equates it to.
I love this guy.
He's working his ass off out there. He sounds like he's stressing about everything,
Hates
like
every
being really
fucking
meticulous.
minute of it. Cannot stand it.
But he's so good at
Yeah.
it. Let him do it.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah, why do I do this
there's
for a living? It's
money.
freezing out here. There's fucking snakes. Get out of here.
I had one question in this movie, and with the commentary track, I was like, they're talking nonstop. Zemeckis talks nonstop. They're going to talk about the question that I had. My question was, why didn't the letters get delivered to Jenny when Forrest was at war? She had an address.
Very good question. I don't know
they didn't explain it. And on the commentary track,
Well, you're supposed to
dead
think
silent.
that she sent them back, but they all came back
No.
at once. So.
He was still in the army when they got him. Like the army never sent them out or something,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
But they were like it was literally
I
the
thought
only.
they were letters from Jenny. I
No,
was
no, no.
confused.
It was-
about
it was
that.
letters
they were
that
his
Forrest
letters
wrote.
that he sent to Jen.
Yeah,
Oh,
But
they just got returned.
She
They
never
just
got the letters.
rejected
Oh,
or
okay.
something.
yeah. And the thing is, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they get rejected? And for 30 seconds, the commentary track, the only time where there's more than 3 seconds of silence, 30 seconds
That
during
part.
that scene, is they probably were like, yeah. I could hear them being like,
we're
I
embarrassed
don't
by
like this.
that.
Yeah,
It's like,
this doesn't make sense. I'm like, yes, vindicated. I love it when that happens. It makes me feel good about myself. Yeah. Let's see. They did a lot of digital skies, digital birds, a bunch of hidden stuff all over the place that you can't really even tell. They pointed at it, and I was like, yeah, this is better than a lot of the stuff they do now. Like, this is kind of like Jurassic Park, where the CG in Jurassic Park was done with such consideration to everything that it still looks better than a lot of the CG now, where they just like throw people into a room with green stuff all over the place. So Zemeckis came up with the bump the lamp thing, and another way he did that in this movie is that, so for Gary Sinise, he has legs obviously, and they put blue bags over his legs and plan to digitally remove them, but they knew that people would think that that was the trick, so they put shit in the way of his legs all the time in the shoots. So in the shots they have here, so if you watch him like swing around, if you use your imagination to extend his leg the distance, like you would think, wait a minute, that table, if he actually had legs and they were removed, he'd hit this table right here. So they do that a bunch of times just to like make it harder for themselves, and to remove any question in your mind that what you're watching isn't real. So that's pretty sweet. What else? Oh, another good one. The reflecting pool shots when he's doing the speech in front of the large crowd and Jenny comes out and screams and they hug in the water. All those people were real, but they only had 1,500 people at a time. So what they did is they composed the shot, put all of the 1,500 people in one quadrant or like, one section of the shot, shoot that, move them back, keep them all in the same square, shoot that area, move them to the next one, fill that up, shoot that, and then compile all of those shots with those 1,500 people, which is still not a small amount of people, but it's not like the tens of thousands or whatever it looks like. But they just did that over and over again, little sections with these people, and then put them together, and it looks like it's a full little rally.
I want to know what he had to say about Vietnam. I'm a little sad that we didn't get to know.
They say it. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
He says, sometimes when people go to Vietnam, they go home to their mamas without any legs. Sometimes they don't go home at all. That's a bad thing. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
You see, I'm not a good actor. If Tom Hanks would have done it, you would have been friggin' crying your goddamn eyes out. Don't okay me, guys.
Interesting choice that they wanted to buzz out his little speech. I mean, I don't know why they wanted it not to be known what he said.
comedy.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe they didn't think it was going to like hit that hard.
Maybe too sensitive as a topic to just
maybe leaving it to the imagination is always fun. You know, it's like maybe he said something really insightful.
Yeah, right.
Maybe he was really dumb.
He was really stupid. Maybe.
Yeah. I got a few more here.
All right.
So this movie made $678 million worldwide. It was a huge success. While they filmed it, the producers wanted to remove a lot of the quote unquote extra unnecessary scenes, like the Vietnam scene or the shrimp boat scene or the running scene or the ping pong scene.
What?
They wanted to remove them.
All of the good scenes?
All of them, because what this book is it's mostly apparent. This is how Zemeckis described it. I have not read the book, but most of the book is him just describing what he did on a bench. And the movie's plan at the very beginning of production was to just have him describe stuff on the bench. This is like pre-production. It was Zemeckis' idea when he was talking with Hanks about it. So he's like, we just have to shoot all this. Every single side story, we have to flash back and do the side story, and that'll be the movie. And Tom Hanks thought he was crazy until Zemeckis got him on board because he seems really good at that. He just keeps talking and
everyone's like, fine.
He's like, we can do this one like that and that and that. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, yeah, this might work.
That sounds good.
Producers weren't having it though, because that's fucking expensive, and the budget was going up just with all these things. So the producers were like, the budget's getting too high. You got to cut all that stuff out. Zemeckis and Hanks did not get paid for this movie. They took a percentage instead, so
smart.
that money could go to the budget, so they could film those scenes. They still ended up cutting some stuff. Like they had a scene where Martin Luther King Jr. he had one of the flashbacks with him. There was like a whole long scene where like Forrest Gump stopped a bunch of black protesters from getting mauled from police dogs by playing fetch with the dogs. That was a whole scene they thought up and didn't get to film. They took some edits, but without all the flashbacks, this movie is nothing, right? It's like that is the movie. It's crazy that's what they thought. So they kind of saved that, and with the percentage, Tom Hanks made $70 million on this movie.
Hey, how's it going? Life is good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tom Hanks. Good for him.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like playing the goddamn lottery. Jesus.
Yeah.
That you get to somewhat influence the results of. They wrote and filmed the scene where Jenny kills her father by running him over with a tractor.
Nice.
The scene exists. You can watch it in the deleted scenes.
Wow.
They took it out because it was too violent, and they thought it made Jenny's character even more hard to relate with, I guess. I mean, TC came in hot at the beginning, being like, fuck Jenny. I feel really bad for Jenny. I kind of excuse her behavior because her childhood was apparently very fucked up, but I can see where you're coming from, TC.
Now,
at some point, it's like...
He's your best friend. You don't just keep fucking off.
Did he fall down? I mean, tractors don't move very fast.
He was a drunk. He probably passed out drunk, and she just set the tractor on him.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary Sinise from this movie's success started a vet foundation, which since I don't know how old this trivia is, they said it makes $30 million a year to help vets, and since it started, it's made $280 million. So that math doesn't totally work out, so I don't know when that person wrote that trivia, but that's still a lot of money either way, year to year. So good on Gary Sinise for doing that. Yeah, they didn't actually greenlight the running stuff. That was one of the things that got cut, but they wanted to do it anyway. So they filmed it in secrecy. They shot it second unit. They shot it like on off days and stuff. They actually used Tom Hanks's brother Jim Hanks for a lot of the running shots because they look somewhat similar.
Does they look similar? They
look similar. And also they tried to use a stunt double for it, but they couldn't get Tom Hanks's run because his run is. They called it, that's a stupid Hank thing, is what they said.
Oh, wow.
So, like, his goofy little run, both Tom and Jim can do it, but, like, nobody else can.
That's
so
great.
They had to get his brother to do it. And it was so they did that secretly with the cast and crew, but even for the Monument Valley stuff, it was just Zemeckis and Tom Hanks for that shot. So it was just two people.
Huh.
That's how, like, this movie was a $65 million budget. That's a big budget movie with huge names, and these people are like shooting guerrilla style on the side to get what they think they need, which is kind of weird. That doesn't happen very frequently. I can't think of any other movie that has had to do that. They usually just say, "Hey, we need this for the movie."
Did they
You'd be
feel
surprised.
like they had a big hit on their hands? I mean, it's Zemeckis, so they probably, he's at the height of his powers, kind of right around there, right?
He was. This is like right after Death Becomes Her.
Oh, okay. Well, meh.
And he made fun of Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise was talking how hard it was to like do all the blue bags in his legs and all the arm stuff, and he's like, "You don't have it so bad. Meryl Streep had to do a whole movie with a blue bag on her head. It's not as bad as wearing blue bags on your legs, Gary."
Yeah.
But they didn't really talk about what they expected the movie to do. They only talked about pre-production, during the shoot, during the edit, what they intended, and then it kind of just seemed like it immediately swept into this movie being like a phenomenon. So no one mentioned that little, period of time before the release. Because I don't know how long that period of time was. Maybe they were working on it until.
No, again, it's Zemeckis. He probably inspires this too in his action. I just didn't know if it was like a Matrix style thing where they were like, "This is really something good. We're gonna just go all out and get it done," and kind of thing.
It was a lot more improvised than that. If you watch the behind the scenes, there are a lot of lines that didn't make it in. Tom Hanks did a lot of improv. As they were filming it, they changed the way it was being set up a lot. They were doing like real style filmmaking, unlike The Matrix, which they knew exactly what they wanted to get. They had basically a comic book they were getting every shot from. That was like from the beginning, they knew what they wanted. This one was a lot more freeform. So I'm not sure people had that much knowledge of how awesome it was going to be because they couldn't quite see the full picture because it wasn't there, until the movie was done, sort of. But Tom Hanks was really enthusiastic about it. But I think seems like he might have been really enthusiastic about a lot of stuff.
I feel like he just
is
is enthusiastic in general.
Yeah. He's working with a great director. He's probably pretty happy. Loves the script. Like,
it's a unique character.
It didn't stand out as something like people were like, "We got to die for this movie." It was just like, "We're making a movie." That's kind of what it seemed like. That's all I got for trivia.
Cool.
Guys, we're running out of movies to watch. What are we going to do?
I don't know. What we have to think on that.
We're gonna do the right thing. We're gonna hang it up. We're gonna go out on a high note. Call it Project Done.
TC?
No, I'm just kidding. That's
definitely
definitely not what we're gonna do.
No, we're gonna do it until one of us dies.
To be so old,
we're
that
gonna
all
have
of a
to
sudden
pick
there's
another list or something.
This podcast is gonna go until like it goes on, and then 1 week there's no episode, and then one of us is gonna be dead,
right?
And we're not gonna respond to it.
There won't be any more.
We're just gonna
because someone's gone.
Yeah,
isn't that morbid? Food for thought. Anybody still listening to this episode? We'll be here until we're dead. I guess is the moral of the story. Right.
I like that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to, you know?
Right.
It's always good to have things to look forward to. Yeah. I have no idea what we're going to watch next week, guys. So I don't even want to talk about it because we can spin our wheels, but next on the list is Lord of the Rings, and I don't have time to watch all 5 commentary tracks this week, so we're not going to do that one.
Right,
okay.
We have to find something else. Well, let's just go to our. We'll go to the.
We'll figure it out and just go to the website, and we'll post on the what's next part, and you'll see it there.
All right. Great.
Top 250.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Top 20.
Easy.
Yeah. This one.
Top 10.
Different kind of film. It's so light in a way, but it's just there's a lot of good things about it.
It almost makes you cry. Like we almost all
cry.
cried.
It makes you feel good too.
I fucking cry. I not almost. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
How many times? Just once.
I did a blubber when he did when he found out he had the kid part. That was hard to keep it. That was just so moving.
It was heartwarming.
I was actively holding back tears. If I had let go, I could have cried 3 times, but I didn't want to. TC, how about you?
I tear up. I don't mind.
And you just try to turn into a sneeze.
I just kind of wipe it away and remember that it's just a movie.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So we'll figure something out. Hopefully, whatever we watch will be good.
All right.
It'll be a movie.
Sayonara.
Probably. Talk to you guys later.
Probably.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, guys.